the main event lighting up the Strip in Las Vegas last night. 1,400 people packing the Venetian Hotel and Casino last night. Donald Trump said it felt more like the Academy Awards.
He likes having all that gold around as well, but it's the Academy Award with catcalls. He took some tough hits last night from Jeb Bush, the most lively performance yet from Governor Bush. The big question, did it change his place in the race? Did anything change last night? You also saw Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio go at it as well, and we're going to talk about this with Bill O'Reilly, who's standing by with his analysis. There he is right there. We're going to begin, though, with ABC's Cecilia Vega. She is in Las Vegas for all the action. Good morning, Cecilia.
Hey, George, good morning to you. And I'm still outside the Venetian Hotel. All eyes inside that hall last night on Donald Trump. The focus was on national security, but Donald Trump says he had the best debate so far.
The gloves were off almost as soon as the opening bell rang.
Oh, I know. You're a tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is
real tough.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the presidency.
Let's see. I'm at 42 and you're at 3, so far I'm doing better.
Doesn't matter.
It was Donald Trump versus Jeb Bush on how to fight ISIS.
With Jeb's attitude, we will never be great again. That I can tell you.
And on that controversial proposal to ban Muslims.
Donald, is great at the one-liners. But he's a chaos candidate, and he'd be a chaos president.
Jeb doesn't really believe I'm unhinged. He said that very simply because he has failed in this campaign. It's been a total disaster. Nobody cares.
There was Donald Trump versus Rand Paul.
Is Donald Trump a serious candidate? The reason I ask this is...
But the biggest grudge match of all...
He has a wonderful temperament.
Trump versus the Texas senator infringing on his front-runner standing in the polls never happened. Instead, it was Ted Cruz versus Marco Rubio, both vying to be the party's alternative to the brash billionaire in the lead.
Does Ted Cruz rule out ever legalizing people that are in this country illegally now?
Senator Cruz?
I have never supported legalization.
Do you rule it out?
I have never supported legalization, and I do not intend to support legalization.
Because, you're not...
Some, like Dr. Ben Carson, struggling to break out of the pack.
But the fact of the matter is, look and see what I've done. And that speaks volumes about strength.
After it was all over...
Mr. Trump, did Jeb Bush have it out for you tonight?
No, he has to do what he has to do. I mean, I fully understand. He's having a hard time, and he wants to get his numbers up.
Well, Jeb Bush thought he had a good night, too. This was the final Republican debate of 2015, and I can tell you there have been a lot of questions about whether Trump might stage an independent run if he does not win this nomination. He said unequivocally last night that he will not do that. Robin, he says he is totally committed to the Republican Party.
We're going to talk about that. Thank you, Cecilia. ABC political analyst Matthew Dowd, who was a senior advisor to President George W. Bush and has worked on campaigns for both parties, is here again with us this morning. So the front runner, how'd he do?
I think Donald Trump didn't damage himself at all. There was engagements on this thing. This is the last debate before Christmas, and I think Donald Trump is going to go into Christmas holidays, into the new year, as the dominant front runner. The interesting thing to me, it's a little bit like, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Yes, GOP, Donald Trump may be your nominee.
And you say that even more so now because of what Trump said. As we heard of Cecilia, as she said at the end of her reporting there, that now he's saying, I'm not going to run as an independent. You read something into that.
I thought that was a big tell at the end of it, because up to this time he's been kind of leaning in, I may or may not. I think he now sees himself in the dominant place he is, and he now sees himself as a winner of the GOP nomination process, and that's why he's saying that.
Ted Cruz has been making some inroads and gaining some ground. How did he do last night?
I thought he did fine. I thought he had momentum coming in. He didn't do anything to push it forward, so I think in that way he fell short of where he needed to go in this. I think he probably wins Iowa, but the problem for Ted Cruz is, where does he win after Iowa?
So did anybody in your estimation break out?
I thought the two breakout people in this debate were Marco Rubio. He's always good at these debates. He's probably won every single debate in the course of this, and so I think he did himself some good, and I think Chris Christie did himself some good, contrasting to everybody else on stage. The problem is, can anybody take a place of Donald Trump in the course of this race? And I think that's still a question we don't know.
And you feel some people are going to drop out by January?
I think it's going to go from a football team to a baseball team to a basketball team in January, which is probably 5 or 6 people on stage.
I knew you'd get one of those analogies in some kind of way. All right, Matthew.